Okay, so road tripping with Steve-O here. I am out of town. I have to tell you a super cool story.
Happy Life Studio. Oh.
I was sitting right there, and my buddy was sitting right there. We were talking about some important stuff for me and for my future and my family and things like that. Some real guidance, direction. Sometimes you just need somebody's help to help you through things, and that's kind of what we were doing. And we'd come up with some really, talk with my buddy, he came up with something really cool that just, my insides kind of jumped a little bit like, ooh, that's good, I like that. And we started talking about it. I started getting really excited. And all of a sudden my phone rings. My phone was sitting right there next to me. I pick it up and I look at it and I think, I've got this thing. I don't always answer phones. I just, if I'm having a conversation with somebody and my phone rings, I'm not going to just say, excuse me. I think that's kind of rude. It kind of interrupts. Like, if someone's in a conversation and somebody just comes walking in the room and starts talking to you, that's kind of what it is like to just pick up the phone and start talking. Unless it's my wife or my family, I usually am not going to pick it up. And it was a good buddy of mine called me, and I just felt like I got this thing inside my gut, like, you should answer that. And so I answered it, and I'm telling you, he started talking to me about how he just felt like he was just talking with God, and I came to mind. An illustration came to mind inside of his head. And then he thought it was for somebody else, and all of a sudden he felt like God was saying, no, that's for Steve-O. You need to call him. And he called me, and it was like word for word. It was exactly what we were just talking about seconds before. It was just a total confirmation of what we had already just been talking about, only he put it in like a word picture that even made more sense. And I just tell you that to tell you that that's how I think God speaks to us. That's one of the thousands of ways that God communicates with us. The very fact that my phone called, that my phone rang, someone called me, and I looked at it and I thought, no, I'm not going to answer it. And I put it back down, and all of a sudden that thought inside my head and inside of my heart just said, you should answer that. I think there's something there. And so I answered the call. And I think we tend to make God's voice real spooky and really big and real eerie, like, he speaks like Darth Vader.
Luke, I am your father.
Or Morgan Freeman.
I'm God.
He speaks like you. That's why he made you in his image. He uses our thoughts, our feelings. And I didn't know it was God until I picked it up and the guy was saying exactly the same thing that we had been talking about, only he had been saying it from a kind of a different angle, a different word picture. And we were just both blown away about we went further into what we're talking about that. So that's some of the ways that God speaks to us. God spoke to me through my buddy sitting in that chair right there, and then he spoke to my buddy sitting on that stool right there, and they were both saying the same thing, and that is just something that's really cool, and I love it when God speaks to us, and I think God is always wanting to speak to us. We just don't always catch it that it's him, but someone would say that's just coincidence. I heard someone say once, coincidences are just God's way of remaining anonymous. But I'm smart enough to realize that when something like that happens, I know that's God speaking. It was just really cool that God would show up and direct my life, my little life, compared to God and how huge he is, that he would have the time to show up and direct my life in the way that he wants me to go to make sure that I'm on the right track. He will do that for you as well. We just have to give him the chance to do so. And sometimes it's just a matter of realizing, wait a minute, maybe God is using my thoughts to speak to me right now. Try it again.
Happy Life Studio.